Looks like him has a new CD out, Tears on Tape. And I would not normally give a review on an album of any kind, but I've read so many negative things about this album, I felt compelled, since I've just listened to the entire CD all in one sitting with my fairly decent stereo blasting away at me, and I wanted to give my 2 cents about this. You know, the fact that it was even made is kind of interesting because their drummer, um, he literally had huge medical issues with his hands and arms, and they didn't think that he would be able to even drum anymore, and he had to have all this work done on himself and therapy. So in the meantime, while the drummer seemed, you hope he got better, Billy went off and wrote all these songs for about 8 or 10 months. When he came back, he had this nice batch of songs, and showed it to the band, and well, look at this. The drummer's back. He's back. And so they go into the studio in Helsinki, Finland, trying to stay in their home turf, I guess. A little bit better than running out to L.A. or something, flying out there with all the insanity that must, in case. But is it as good as Screamworks? Well, for one thing, Screamworks to me was very lackluster, and I could never get into Screamworks. It just seemed to be missing something. There were way too many keyboards up front. It had a little more poppy sound. It didn't have that kind of, I don't know, dark, suicidal, romantic love gone bad vibe to it. I was never able to get into it. And that's the only CD that I've ever bought at the store here in America. I bought it at Walmart. I'm not kidding you. I bought Screamworks at Walmart. Everything else, Deep Shadows and Love Metal and all that, I bought them all online, But I will say this. The songs are shorter on this album, and there's no epic long songs like The Path or Sleepwalking Past Hope from Venus Doom. But by God, these songs fucking rock. I'm not kidding you, man. There's only one song that goes up to 5 minutes. Everything else is like 3.5, 4 minutes, whatever. But don't let that think, they're just trying to get radio-friendly songs. No, all the critics are wrong. All the critics have been bashing this album over and over. I've read like 10 reviews, and they were all bad. They just said it was lackluster and lazy, and they're on autopilot, and Billy and them just don't care anymore. I was just shocked. I kept thinking, were they listening to the same CD that I was listening to? Because I'd have cranked up pretty loud on my surround sound, and I tell you one thing, it sounded pretty fucking cool. There's some heavy riffs here, man. There's some heavy stuff going on. And there's also a friend asked me, they knew that I was listening to the CD, and I texted them, and the way I described it was grungy and romantic, and that's exactly the way it feels. It's this kind of punk rock, grungy, romantic, somewhat evil occasionally sounding album. It really shocked me. And I think there's only about 9 vocal tracks, and then there's 3 or 4 kind of instrumental tracks that they threw in there, and they're all like a minute or two long, and they're like a segue into the other song. But they're done very well. It's kind of cryptic and weird, and kind of like something Nine Inch Nails or Marilyn Manson would have done, like on Antichrist Superstar. There's a lot of that. There's just you hear this weird feedback in guitar, and you hear strange voices and keyboards, and then all of a sudden the song starts. So I like the way they've done that. There's a good flow to the album. It really surprised me. But do I really like it? I do like it. I think it's great. I think it's so much better than Screamworks. To me, it's Venus Doom Part 2. Kind of. But it has that kind of early sound too. That whole razor blade kind of feel to it. where several of the songs start off incredibly heavy. I mean, you hear Billy and them talk a lot about Black Sabbath and stuff, and you kind of want them to be like the romantic Black Sabbath. Well, I don't know about that. Maybe they talk about that too much. I think they like Black Sabbath. They like that dark sound, but they always like to throw in a little bit of romanticism and gothicness to it. Yes, I just said gothicness. But there's I think there's one song on here. It's an abbreviation, WLSTD. STD. But anyway, that's probably the heaviest song I've ever heard them do. I mean, when that riff kicked in, it literally sounded like Tony Iommi on guitar. It was just heavy as a motherfucker, like a truckload of bricks landing on your brain. And excuse me. But I tell you, Billy sounds fantastic on this CD. He's I don't know if he was sober during it, or I don't know what was going on. I don't know I've heard. You hear all these crazy rumors, about stuff, and I know that they're with a new label now, I think called Razor and Tie, in the U.S. here. So it's a smaller label, and then they're pretty much able to do anything they wanted with this, and I guess it shows. It does feel very personal. I think it's a very personal CD. Everything just kind of works well with this, and I'm not quite sure what the critics are complaining about. I guess they want Love Metal Part 2 or something. Love Metal was something that was just special. Kind of like Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon, how Pink Floyd would never, that was their pinnacle, and they would never really get that again, that type of musical genius. Well, the same can be said with him, because maybe Love Metal was their high water mark. And I feel that, but with this album, I just think it's really cool. And I kept thinking that there was this punk rock feel to a lot of the songs because they were so short. And I even thought I heard some Nirvana influence here and there. Yeah, I know all you people like Nirvana. But yeah, I thought I even heard some Nirvana influence here and there. But it is definitely worth getting. And get the deluxe edition because it comes with a DVD, and it's I think 4 or 5 tracks. I'm actually trying to look on my internet here about it, or whatever. I'm trying to remember. It was on like Kiss of Dawn and Funeral of Hearts, and one or two other ones. But they're really good. It's done in the DVD is in black and white, and you've probably seen a clip online of it, of one or two of the songs maybe. But they're done very well. The band seems very tight, and Billy actually looks like he's having fun. That's what I like about him. He always looks like he's having fun. He's like laughing at the end of the track, and he can he's the way he's looking at everybody. He's got his little silly grin on his face. It's cool. So you need to get the one with the DVD. It's well worth it. Then, the CD itself clocks in at 40 minutes and 56 seconds, and that's like a perfect time. I don't know why people were even complaining about that. I'm 45, so I grew up in the 70s and early 80s, listening to a lot of music, and most albums like Kiss albums or Alice Cooper or AC/DC, they were all about 35 or 40 minutes long. So I'm used to that. So when bands want to put out an album that's 60 minutes long, you're wondering like, damn, you better have some good material. So I think 40 minutes on this is pretty cool. The only gripe I have, it would have been cool to have one really long epic track, that because they can do that. I mean, they can do that. But that, whatever. Overall, it's well worth your time. You should get it. Don't dick around about it. Order it. Go to Best Buy or wherever the hell. Just go find it, man, because you're gonna enjoy it. You're gonna crank it loud because you're gonna like it. The boys are back in the Finland boys are back in town. That's what I gotta say, man. It's cool, and you're gonna think, damn, this shit's really awesome compared to all the crap that's. Well, I don't listen to the radio, so I don't even know what's on the radio anymore. That's not my world. I listen to my own music, my own CDs or whatever. So go get it. You're gonna be floored by it. Don't listen to any of the critics. Listen to me. Steve-O here, and you will not regret it. All right, later.